Chapter 1. Another lovely day. Suddenly, he woke up. He saw the light coming through the curtains. Evelyn was still sleeping beside him. This was strange. They always woke up together. He looked at his watch. It was 7:30. He tried to think. Yes, they always woke up at exactly 9 o'clock. He couldn't remember waking up before 9. Not once. Why was that? Everyone in the city woke up at exactly 9 o'clock every single day. He got out of bed quietly. Evelyn didn't move. He walked to the window and opened the curtains. He looked at the quiet city. There was nobody. Then he quickly got dressed and sat on the chair. He had to think. He had to remember. 2 hours later, when Evelyn opened her eyes, he was still sitting there. "Patrick, what are you doing?" she asked. "I woke up early," he said, early. It sounded strange, but why did it sound strange? "Patrick, is something wrong?" "Wrong? No, nothing's wrong. I just wanted to get up. That's all." Evelyn dressed. She smiled and said, "It's time for breakfast. Come on, we mustn't be late." He was about to ask, "Why not?" But he didn't. He stood up. Yes, it's time for breakfast, but I'm not feeling hungry today. You go down for breakfast. I'll see you later." Evelyn looked at him. "We have to go to breakfast. Are you feeling sick?" "I'll call the doctor." The doctor. He didn't want to see the doctor. Yes, he had to go to breakfast. Evelyn was standing by the door. She looked annoyed. "Evelyn, I didn't eat anything yesterday or the day before. I feel different," he said. Evelyn picked up the phone. "Of course you feel different, Patrick. You're sick. I'll get the doctor." "Don't call the doctor, Evelyn. Please. I wanted to feel hungry. I haven't felt hungry for a long time. I wanted to remember the feeling," he said. She looked worried. "I don't understand what you're saying. Nobody wants to feel hungry," she said. "That's it. Nobody wants to feel hungry. Nobody wants to feel sad. Nobody wants to feel anything. Yesterday and the day before, I didn't eat. Nobody noticed. I threw the food away. And now I'm starting to remember things. I think there's something in the food, a drug. Because of that drug, we can't remember things." Evelyn's face turned red. "You're crazy," she said quietly. "Perhaps. But why can't we remember anything? What is this place?" He said. "It's our home," she said quietly. "Our home? When did we come here?" "I don't know, Patrick. Is it important? Why did we come here?" he asked angrily. We? Oh, Patrick. I can't remember. Don't worry about it. Look, don't be stupid. We're going to be very busy today. First, we'll go to the baking class. Today, you'll be making a cheesecake. Then we're going to go boating. Then lunch. Then we can lie beside the sea before tennis. Then there's dinner. I'll make lamb roast for dinner. Then we can watch a movie in the TV lounge, have a drink, and go to bed. We'll be tired. Tired at 9 o'clock? Well, yes. That's bedtime. We need 12 hours of sleep every night. Everybody says that. Evelyn, how long have we been here? I don't know, Patrick. We call this place home. We used to come here on holidays. We used to call this our hotel room. Now we call it home. Don't you remember? I don't remember that. That's stupid. No, it isn't, Evelyn. I remembered this morning when I woke up early. Perhaps you didn't wake up, Patrick. Perhaps you had a dream. A strange dream, that's all. But I did wake up, Evelyn. You saw me. I was sitting on that chair, all dressed up. I'm not sure. Were you? I can't remember now. She smiled at him. Come on, it's such a beautiful day. Let's look at her and said, You've forgotten our conversation, haven't you? You've forgotten it already. Chapter 2. I love breakfast. Patrick followed her into the corridor. He looked at the doors on both sides. They were all the same. They went to the lift. Evelyn pressed the button and the doors opened. Morning, Evelyn. Morning, Patrick. Tom, the sports organizer, was already in the lift. He smiled and said, I hope you're both ready for the tennis match. We're playing level 15 this afternoon. The line of people was very long. They were all waiting for breakfast. Patrick looked around. Everyone was wearing jeans and t-shirts, both the men and the women. Patrick looked down at his t-shirt. It was dark blue, the level 6 color. His jeans were dark blue, too. There were different colors for all the levels. The man in front of him was wearing a red level 3 t-shirt. Peanut butter. I love peanut butter, said Evelyn. So do I, said Tom. Patrick smiled. Everyday breakfast was peanut butter with bread. Every day Evelyn seemed happy with it. She always seemed happy with lunch, too, and dinner. Everybody seemed happy. He thought about the food. Lunch was usually soup and some salad. Dinner was usually beans and some kind of rice. They sometimes had a little meat or fish, but not often. But they never felt hungry. Patrick took a spoon of peanut butter and an energy drink. He sat with Evelyn and Tom on the table. The restaurant had big windows, and through them you could see the large swimming pool. Families with children all lived on the other side of the pool. On this side there were people without children. Patrick stopped and thought. None of us have had children here, and the youngest children on the other side are 10 or 9 years old. They used to be younger. It means that no children have been born here, and the youngest children are 10 or 9. Patrick waited for a moment. He put his plate down on an empty table. It was difficult. Thinking was difficult. So maybe that's how long we've been here. 9 to 10 years. He felt happy with himself. He looked around quickly. Nobody was watching him. He picked up his plate again and walked over to the dustbin. Quickly he threw the food and drink away. He looked around again. No, nobody saw him. He started to walk to Evelyn's table. And there are no sick people here. They take them to a hospital. Nobody else leaves. Never. He thought to himself. He stopped. There was Robert. Robert went to the hospital. But when? He walked over to Robert's table. Robert, good morning, he said. Good morning, Patrick. Lovely day, isn't it? How's your leg, Robert? Is it better? Robert looked surprised. My leg? There's nothing wrong with my leg. Don't you remember, Robert? You hurt your leg. You cut it by the tennis court. I was with you. You fell on a glass and it broke, cutting you badly. They took you to the hospital. You went in a helicopter. Robert stopped eating. He looked worried for a moment. Then he said, I've never gone to hospital in my life, and I've never been in a helicopter. Is this a joke? Patrick looked down. Robert was wearing yellow level 12 jeans. He could see the red scar on Robert's leg. He looked at Robert again. Robert was smiling. Patrick, are you all right? It was Tom. He was standing behind him. I was just talking to Robert about his leg. He cut his leg when we were at the tennis court. Look, there's the scar. You remember Tom. He fell on a glass. You carried him to the helicopter. Tom wasn't smiling. Patrick, can you come to my office after breakfast? I want to talk to you. Patrick looked at Tom carefully. Tom was the sports organizer for level 6. There were a lot of organizers. They all lived on the highest level of the building. Level 30. There were organizers for sports, baking, yoga, music, dance, everything. No, I can't come to your office, Tom. I'm busy. Tom looked surprised. Busy? What do you mean? Patrick turned and quickly walked out of the restaurant. He went to the lift. As he reached there, he pressed the button and the doors opened immediately. Patrick stepped in. Tom was running along the corridor towards him. Patrick pressed the button and the doors closed. Patrick looked at the buttons. There were 30 levels. He pressed number 30. Chapter 3. The 30th level. The lift stopped. Patrick walked out. The corridor was empty. The rooms were bigger here. There was more distance between the doors. Then he heard a noise. It was a bell. The door of the next lift was opening. Patrick stepped back. Tom was coming out of the lift door. Patrick, what are you doing? This is level 30. You shouldn't be here, Tom said. Why not? And why are you following me? Said Patrick. I must speak to you. It's important, said Tom. Patrick looked at Tom. Tom was looking at the wall next to the lift. There was a white button on the wall. Tom was moving towards the button. Patrick stepped between Tom and the button and said, Okay then, where shall we talk? Tom looked worried. We was bigger than Patrick and stronger too. Patrick thought about the sports in Terra Vista City. Nobody tried to win. Ever. Why not? He could remember the day before when he played tennis against Tom. Patrick tried to win. He wanted to win. Tom was surprised then. Patrick smiled. Come on, let's go to your office. I must not be late for the baking class. I'll be making a cheesecake today. Patrick stepped into the lift and Tom followed him. As Tom moved his hand towards the level 1 button, Patrick hit him hard on the back of his head. Tom fell onto the floor. I knocked him out. I hit him once and knocked him out. Where did I learn that? There were no fights in Terra Vista City. Nobody was ever angry, Patrick thought. Patrick looked at the buttons. He pressed the button for level 5. There was nobody on level 5 at this time of the morning. Chapter 4. On the top. Patrick walked along the corridor. There were some stairs at the end. He ran up the stairs. There was a door at the top. He pushed the door and it opened. It wasn't locked and there he was on the roof. Patrick looked around. A large helicopter was standing on the roof. He stopped and looked at it for a moment. The helicopter was Bell 214. He thought for a moment. Bell 214 had 18 seats and 2 engines. But how did he know that? He tried to remember. Of course, he used to work at a helicopter factory. He used to make helicopters. He used to work. But when was that? And where? Why did he stop working? And why did he come to Terra Vista City? Patrick walked across the roof. It was very wide. He looked at the skyline of Terra Vista City. There was another valley with more buildings. It looked exactly like Terra Vista City. There was a door on the other side with a notice on it. Salida. He tried to think. Salida. It was Spanish. It meant exit. But when did he learn Spanish? He turned and ran over to the helicopter. The door was open. There were a lot of boxes inside. They were empty. Patrick climbed in and hid behind the boxes. There was something written on the boxes in English, German, and Spanish. He looked at more boxes. Well, that's it. We've delivered everything to the German and Italian sections. Yes, we can do the French and English sections this afternoon. Chapter 5. Patrick remembers more. The engine started, and he couldn't hear anything else. The helicopter took off into the sky. Patrick moved quietly to the window and looked down. He could see so many valleys like Terra Vista City. They flew over the valleys for half an hour. Then Patrick could see fields, trees, and farms. From far above, he saw a town with factories and smoke. The helicopter began to land. Patrick hid behind the boxes again. The helicopter landed and the door opened. Some men began to move the boxes. Patrick stood up and said, "Hello, where are we?" The men looked at each other. They didn't speak. Another man climbed into the helicopter. "It's all right. It's just another one from the valleys," he said to the men. He looked at Patrick. "Why have you come here?" "I don't know. I started to remember things." "I wanted to remember more," said Patrick. "You've come from Terra Vista City, haven't you?" asked the man. "Yes," said Patrick. I see. I think you should come with me." Patrick followed the man out of the helicopter. "My name's Jack." "Come to my office," said the man. Patrick looked around. They were at a small airport. He could see 7 to 8 helicopters, 4 large planes, and a lot of trucks. All the helicopters were Bell 214. Men were putting those boxes into them. Jack took Patrick to a small building. They went inside. They went to a small, dirty office. Patrick looked around. In Terra Vista City, everything was always in the right place. Nothing was messy or dirty. Sit down. Would you like something to drink? I've got tea and coffee, asked Jack. No, thank you, said Patrick. Jack laughed. Don't worry. There's nothing in it. I'm sure you're very hungry and very thirsty. How do you know that? Said Patrick. Jack sat down. They are always hungry and thirsty. That's why they're here. Look, don't worry. Terra Vista City isn't a prison. When the helicopter took off, the pilots knew there was somebody else there. They knew because of the extra weight. Why didn't they take me back then? Asked Patrick. I've told you. It isn't a prison. You got into the helicopter because you wanted to leave. That's fine. You've left. We didn't stop you. Patrick thought for a moment and then said, there was a man, one of the sports organizers. His name's Tom. He wanted to stop me. I knocked him out. I left him in the lift and sent the lift down to level 5. I didn't want to hurt him. He's all right. You didn't hurt him badly. I spoke to him on the telephone a few minutes ago. What is Terra Vista City? What is it really? Asked Patrick. How much do you remember? Asked Jack. I'm starting to remember more and more. I can't remember everything yet. You'll remember more tomorrow, said Jack. Well, I used to work in a helicopter factory in London. This isn't London, is it? No, it isn't, replied Jack. I lost my job. The factory closed. I was unemployed for a long time. Then I saw an advertisement. I read it in newspaper, I think. It was for very cheap, 40 days holiday for the unemployed. Very cheap. We left London and flew to Terra Vista City. I don't remember much since then. But I remember something. I haven't seen or talked about money for years. Jack smiled. Terra Vista City is one of the oldest towns here. It opened 9 years ago. You haven't seen money for 9 years. But what's happening? Asked Patrick. 9 years ago, there were millions of unemployed people all over the world. There was very little work. Computers were doing everything. There was fighting in the streets, riots, hunger. The governments all over the world had a meeting, a secret meeting. They built Terra Vista City and hundreds of places like it. All of them are in warm, sunny places near the sea. They sent unemployed people on holidays. They give everyone drugs and the food. So there is no fighting, no hunger, no children in these cities. There is also no memory. Nobody can remember anything. Everybody lives for today. But that's terrible, said Patrick. Is it? Is it really? Things were much worse before, Jack said. Are you going to send me back there? Asked Patrick. You can choose. We can give you a drug. You'll wake up tomorrow in Terra Vista City and you won't remember anything about today. You said I can choose, said Patrick. Yes. You can either stay here or you can go back to London. We'll find you a job. Life will be difficult. You'll have to work hard But I'll be free, said Patrick. Yes, you will be. A few people, only 2 or 3%, leave Terra Vista City and the other cities every year. That isn't a problem. We can find jobs for those people. Most people are happy there. About half of the people that leave choose to go back. I don't believe it, said Patrick. You will. Maybe next year you'll want to go back. It's an easy life. But what about now? Are you going back or staying here? Patrick smiled and said, I think I'll stay here.